you're talking about sexual intercourse and our sexual play. That's really what a date really is.
Okay.
Otherwise, a date is just something on a calendar, or
Okay.
two people sitting and drinking coffee. That's just two people sitting and drinking coffee. I mean, that word date, that can be very controversial, misleading, hypocritical, whatever you want to call it. But I prefer not to even use the word date. I just say a person is either going to have sexual intercourse or engage in sexual play, kissing, fondling, something like that, or they are not.
Okay.
Okay? That's always, let's cut right to the chase. You know, is that what you're doing? Is that what you're not doing? Now, is it okay to do that with a person of a shade of color? Now, see, Japanese is what you call a culture. I mean, it's a number of things that you do. Language, what they call culture sometimes has to do with the food that you eat, or the type of clothes that you wear, or your frame of mind about different types of things, I mean, and your opinion of these things, and all like that. But now, if you're talking about color, you're talking about black, brown, red, yellow, tan, beige. Okay, so sometimes or oftentimes people who are considered to be quote unquote Japanese, when you talk about color, they are usually, many times are called people who are yellow or shades of yellow or tan or brown, but under the umbrella of people of color. So if you're talking about people of color, all people of color, according to the code, can have sexual intercourse. If that is the question, if that's the core question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and fit under the code approval.
Okay.
What code? The counter-racist code. Because you're a person of color. Doesn't make any difference what shade you are of color. I mean, a lot of black people look like they're white people, but they're classified as black.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you look at black people all the time. I mean, you say, well, if you just really look at the person, we got them, black people who are light skinned, dark brown, dark brown, black, what they call yellow, or sometimes called red bone.
Yeah.
But but they're they say that they're black people.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Malcolm X didn't look like Marcus Garvey.
No, he did not.
All right, and his spouse, was darker than he was, but that was okay.
In fact, he was
they're
called red.
classified as black.
Yeah.
They function as black.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same way with any shade. If you're talking about color,
Yes.
just go by how the person is classified according to color, not according to whether or not they're, so-called Chinese or Japanese or Indonesian or English.
Okay.
English is not a color. All right? You will say, I'll give an illustration. A person will say, well, sir, there's an Englishman out there that'd like to speak to you. Okay, so a person walks in, and that person is what you might call, quote, unquote, jet black. And the person leans over and says, I thought you told me there was an Englishman waiting to speak to me. Say, yeah, he's from England. He was born in London. I mean, his folks came from Ghana, but he lives in London. I mean, he was born in London.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
But I thought of an Englishman as being white. Well, that's what you thought.
That's
You didn't ask me nothing about what color he was.